Well, in that case, let's just kick off. My name is Joe Meno, and finally, okay. I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to stand. I'm going to stand up. My name is Joe Meno. I am editor to the Lego fan magazine BrickJournal. I actually live in Raleigh, not too far away from here, and I was asked to do a presentation and also show off some of our stuff. You've seen our stuff over at the main hall. That's from our local club in North Carolina Lego Users Group, which is based in Raleigh. Will Scrow here, he is actually another one of the members. He did the tree. He went over the Ewoks. I did a couple of the other things. Another one of our builders is actually watching the table right now. He's the one who did all the transfers that actually work. His name is Seth. So on the way out, say hello to him because I just want to see him get home. So what I'm going to talk to you about, because I'm used to doing talks very specifically either about the Lego community, which is adult builders, or about building, I'm not really too terribly sure where I was going to go in this particular discussion, because we have a nice cross-section of kids who want to know how to build, and we have probably more than a few adults who want to know about building or how to get involved. How many people would want to get involved in building by themselves or with their kids? We're going. And I'll just show you some photos, and then after that, I'll answer any questions. If you want to know about building secrets, my advice to you is to wait until afterwards. Mob me at the table. I cannot show you here on the screen building secrets because A, you won't get it until you actually touch it, and B, I just didn't work that part out on the screen. But anyways, so the big question is, what can we build with Lego? If you ask a lot of people, it can be either you can build little toys that are in the boxes, which a lot of us adults turn around and go, "What, Will? What is that?" Yeah. We usually tend to look at the box and go, instead of looking at the actual set, we look at the parts inside. We look at what we can do with it as opposed to what's already been done. Because actually, honestly, most of the time what's already done is kind of enough to us. We can do better. And that's what's really cool about the adult community. We can step up to do incredibly things that the company would never, ever do. But in this particular case, that mosaic, that was shown out first over at Toy Fair this year over in New York City. This was actually done by the Lego Master Builders over in Enfield, Connecticut. Now, if you take a look, that mosaic is actually not this tall, which means that it took more than a few thousand bricks to make, and I'm only showing half of it. The other side has Batman on it, and unfortunately, because it was so big, I couldn't take a picture of both of them without walking to the other side of the store, which wasn't good. So, but some people regard the sets as, for lack of a better term, fire. Now, some of us regard building as an art form. The mosaic is a borderline example of an art form. There are some other people. There is a guy by the name of Nathan Sawaya. He builds absolutely incredible sculptures that you can see online at thebrickartist.com. But he is a true artist, and Lego supports. He's one of the real Lego modern builders. I'm a Lego master. Now I'm more like a Lego journalist because of my magazine. But he's a real Lego master. Lego supports him and allows him to use their brick to build stuff. So that also means he gets a lot of brick for a little cheaper than the rest of us. So now, that is not this big. That is more like this big. Thank you. But if you take a look, how many normal Lego pieces are in there? How many bricks do you see in there? Zero. Very few. This particular guy, his name is Mike Nieves. Nieves. N-I-V-E-S. lives in the DC area. He builds using those, remember Bionicle? Now Hero Factory? How many people remember Bionicle and like it? How many people like Hero Factory and like it?
Stick around after for door prizes.
No, the reason why I say that is because for most of us traditional builders who build with bricks and all that, we tend to look over at Bionicle and go, because we can't figure out how to build it. There's no stud, there's no brick. You can't stack. That's based on a different system where you basically, it's ball and joint. You snap all balls and ball joints and go and make things. This particular guy has been able to combine a little brick building into Bionicle building. And he ends up with wonderful things like that. And that, like I said, it's not this big. It's a gorgeous piece of sculpture. And he also sold it for $400. Considering how much work he put into it, I think the guy, the enterprise, because there's a lot of genius work. And there's Harry. That's another expression of life. And the only problem we have right now is that color is not exactly right. And until we get the right color of teal, thanks to the friend sets. How many people know about the friend sets? The girl sets. Come on. There it is. Yeah. Those sets, contrary to what people believe, have been a very good thing for the company and for builders. Because now we can actually get that teal for parity. And sooner or later I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But this particular person built it out of blue, I think, and showed it off over at a convention over in Washington, D.C. Currently there are about six, I think there are 6 conventions in the country going year round. And actually Raleigh had Brick Magic. Brick Magic's not happening next year, it will happen the year afterwards. But the nearest one is Brick Fair in Washington, D.C. that happens around August. If you want to see any of this stuff live, take the time out to visit. It's a really cool show. There's some really great stuff, and you'll meet some really neat people. Like that. The ship is this big. The layout is that big. And the water is done by just pouring blue 1x1 pieces, just pouring it all on the bottom, and then it flops the ship somewhere. That's all he did. And it took them 2 months to figure that out. They kept on building it flat, they finally just gave up and threw it in. That's it! And this actually won an award over at Brick Fair. This ship and the ship that you see right in front of it, just the tips of the sails, done by a family, father and son. So they both won. Pretty good. Then we can get into military. There are a lot of people who like to use Lego as a modeling medium. Let's try and get something as exact as humanly possible using Lego. There's only one problem with Lego. If you take a look at a Lego minifigure, if you actually made a Lego minifigure in person, it'd be kind of like this. It'd be about 3 foot wide. Lego people are mad. And that makes it really tough when you're trying to build in scale. But we have people who work on it. The military builders are the experts in that field. There are some people building castles that are just as good. But most obviously in the military, such as the Soviet one up there, which was built by a guy in Norway, a Norwegian guy, who actually comes down over to DC every year to show off his stuff. You'll see that kind of stuff happening. If you go to an event, there's no telling where the other people will be coming from. The DC event had people from all around the country, and also Japan, Germany, Norway, and of course Denmark, because there's usually one person from the Lego company coming in to see what's going on. So you have a very good cross-section of people coming in to see what's going on. Next.
So Joe, why can't I go out and buy a military plane made of Lego?
Because LEGO has a very strict policy of not doing anything that resembles military, otherwise known as no warplanes, no, especially no World War II things or anything like that. They have loosened their policy somewhat to allow for fantasy, which is why there are things like Batman having Tommy guns. That actually, for the fans, that was a major step. But overall, anything that's violence is not allowed. Conflict is. Good guys, bad guys, that's generally okay. But flat out war, grenades, no. And what's interesting is that as a result of that, there has been a great third-party market that's been made. Nothing but weapons. How many people know about BrickMania? 1, 2. Complete. All right. How many people know about Brick Arms? Same kids. Yeah.
A lot of grenades in that house.
No, the reason I asked about those two places, those are two places. BrickMania makes military sets. They're very expensive, but they're really accurate. And Brick Arms, they make guns, for lack of a better term, and they make guns that are accurate. So they make all the military arms. LEGO will not touch that. But because of that opening, they've been able to basically create their own market and basically control it, which to me there's a point of envy I have. Why not? I'm an architect, I should have thought. So, then you end up with something like this, which is a none of the above. This is what happens when you get a brilliant couple of builders and they play with the bricks. They will create something that's so completely different you don't know what to do. If you take a look at the figure is a friend's figure. So right off the bat, they're off beat because most of the traditionals won't touch a friend's figure at all because they're out of scale. They look weird, just different. Play with it. They decided to make it the rider, but if you take a look, the tail is a whole different technique of building. There is a way to make waves using plates. They were able to do. And on top of that, they use lots of heat. There's probably more heat there than I have in my car. But that particular model was done by a couple that lived in the DC. Stephen Chapman. They also are well known for making dragons. Built absolutely gorgeous organic. He won an award. And that was done by a person that I actually taught over at BrickJournal in Seattle. That was a Washington rover. But people build sculptures like that. These are hard to do because what's the hardest thing you can do, and what's the worst thing you can try and do with LEGO? Build a curve. Building a curve is the next impossible thing, which is why you'll never, or very rarely, see sculptures that are, for lack of a better term, except for, like I showed on the previous slide, the tail of a horse. Alright, where does this come from?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Okay, this is a spinner from Blade Runner. Now, the big question is, where is this? Or the other question is, who designed it? Who designed the spinner? Come on, you movie trivia people. Movie designer, come on. Did 2000?
He's not even back here.
2010.
I've seen the original one in Washington, Washington State, but I don't know. It's not Ridley Scott. I know he
directed it.
Yeah, I know he helped with a lot of design.
Yeah,
I know he
2010. The person who designed it is a guy by the name of Sid Mead, futurist. What's really cool about this particular model is that this model was built by the LEGO designers in Denmark as a present to Sid Mead. This was taken at Sid Mead's studio in Escape. I was actually able to visit him last year, this year, just because of that. And I got to take a look. It's a pretty model. There's only one problem. Nobody will be ever able to make it because some of those pieces do not exist. Some only came from the Lego package. All right. Which one is the one that's Lego made? Gee, apparently you didn't do a good job. The guy who built this is Simon McDonald. He lives over in Florida. He's built Boba Fett. He's also built Darth Vader. He's now working on. Well, he was last working on a clone trooper, but he changed his mind. He's now doing something cooler. But we'll wait till he shows it off. Hopefully, in about a year before I see it. But that is a full costume, and including the gun, and you can walk around with it without any problem whatsoever. Backpack, full up, and it's actually been signed by Jeremy Bullock, the real Boba Fett. That actually has been traveled around. That's a picture from Celebration 6, the last one? Celebration 6, which was over in Orlando earlier this year. And that's his Darth Vader. Now, a funny story. He actually tried to show that off over at Disney World Festival of the Masters about 4 years ago. They would not let him put on the costume. They wouldn't let him because of trademark issues. So he was able to display it, but couldn't wear it. Remember Bionicle? Oh, this is what happens when you get a bunch of lime green Bionicle and a guy who likes to make costumes. He makes his own thinger. If you guys know from the Alien Invasion genre sets that came out a couple of years ago, they had a little creature that pops onto a minifig's head. That's a rendition of that, completely with minifig head. Now that's what happens when you get the company to build something. That's Gandalf. He was shown up first over at COMICON, and he was built and designed by the guys over in Connecticut. And they have all the resources to do that. We're getting there in terms of community, but we're still a little off. But he stands about tall, and he has a staff, which is lit. The funny thing about it is that the light inside the staff is actually done by a fan builder, and was requested by the builders to do. So the community does get to help out every once in a while.
Did anyone here help build the giant Yoda years back? Over at Crabtree?
Yeah, when it opened up.
Well, I had a Lego Yoda, but except I used it to make my own Lego creations.
Ah! Yeah, well, when the store opened, when the Raleigh store opened, there was a Lego Yoda. Yeah, I got to do quite a bit. He's life size. And he's kind of scary. When you look at him, he's kind of scary. He was also shown off. He's now over at Legoland, Florida, or a version of it. There's more than one that's been around. And I keep on waiting for This was the build that happened over at Celebration 6. If you take a look, Eric is the guy in the middle. He's the actual guy from Lego, over in Connecticut. He's one of the master model builders. What he's leaning on is the reference model. Right beside him is the actual model that he ended up building over the weekend. Actually, the Darth Maul head was designed by somebody else entirely. Sneak peek. Next year, these will be coming out. These are also revealed over at the COMICON. Aquaman said been announced. Batman, and Dr. Mr. Freeze being another one Dr. Stop. Aquaman. Dr. Dude. Yeah. I want Dr. Dude. No, I don't want Dr. Dude. Dr. Dude. And I'm surprised that nobody's there, but that's because of the cartoon series that's going on right now. Okay, wait, who's the nurse?
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, you know about the set?
No, but I can see the black and the red.
Well, the set, there's going to be an Arkham Asylum set coming up.
Whoa.
And it's pretty. It's pretty. It's pretty.
That's amazing. That is
Yeah, but then you see the rest of
the original.
Who wants Nick Fury? Venom's actually going to have seaweed. You know the seaweed pieces? Yeah, they'll be his tentacles in the back. So he's going to look big. But those will be up sets coming up at the end of the year. But you guys already know about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
Yes.
And there have been a couple sets that have been shown already. That's coming out pretty darn soon. And also, you guys definitely know about the Hobbit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that takes care of all that I know right off the bat. The rest of you are going to have to ask questions. So if you want to ask questions about anything, shoot them my way. Except for building. We won't talk about building until I get back to the table, and I'll talk about that. All right? Reed, way back. You was first.
There's another sneak peek I saw in the Lego Club Night.